SYM Shark ridiculous weight performance review. 3, 2, 1. Come on, let's go. Yeah, we got it. Fine, right? This is the SYM Shark 50cc. And why this bike is important today is because it's one of the few bikes that you can drive legally in Vietnam without a motorbike license. So basically, if you do not have a license in this country, you can drive some electric bikes and you can drive 50cc bikes. And the answer to the problem up until recently was to get the VinFast series of electric motorbikes. And these have been around for a while now, but unfortunately, at least in the last couple of weeks, but just slowly over time, the VinFast e-bike division has basically collapsed through lack of customer service. Meaning companies like this, who were basically the first to offer e-bike rentals to people without licenses, theextramile.co, no longer can provide VinFast scooters because of the customer service just being too bad. So he's a good friend of mine, Renzo, comes up to me and says, "John, what do I do? What do I give my clients who don't have licenses?" I said, "Dude, the SYM Shark 50cc. SYM is a brand from Taiwan, and they used to be really big in Vietnam as well. Back in 2002, 2003, a long time ago, the SYM Attila was the first 125cc scooter in the country, and it was an awesome machine. I came along later and actually started renting these between Ho Chi Minh and Hanoi. But since those days, SYM has somewhat disappeared from the market, basically being crushed by Honda, Yamaha and other brands around, but they are still here today and they are extremely cheap and amazing value for money bikes. So here we are, the SYM Shark 50cc, perfect for people who just want to get around the city, don't really care about motorbikes, they just need a set of wheels. Especially if you're an expat living in a place like Tao Dien, doing school runs and things like that, you're not really going that far. Power is not the problem. So you've got some reliability here, you've got the correct CC for no license, and basically it's just your standard bike. And that's also what I really love about these bikes. All the modern bikes these days have stupid magnetic keys and other dumb devices that mean you accidentally leave the bike on and walk off and then the battery drains. I'm a big fan of old school technology. A simple key is all that I personally want. You put the key in the bike, you switch the on button, you hit the brakes, and I'm assuming when I hit this button, it turns on. It might have a kickstand safety feature, let's find out. No, doesn't even have that. That's all I care about. Don't need magnetic keys. So to open the seat, it is nice to have it where you can do it from the front. But again, just old school tech where you get used to it. This one opens down at the back, there. And we'll show you in a bit, but we have nice, pretty good trunk space, again, which you kind of don't get with e-scooters and other such bikes. Step through platform. I think these are called for your shopping, your dog, your kid's little chair, if you wish. It weighs 75 kilograms. That's nothing. That's really, really important in the city when you're going to very crammed parking places. Nice light bike. Like personally, as a motorbike guy, I still drive a scooter for that reason. I don't lug around a 200 kg adventure bike in the city. I just use a little scooter. And then it has a 5-litre gas tank, which is actually quite a lot. Your average Honda semi-automatic here is 4.7 litres. So this will go a long time off one gas tank. I can't believe I'm saying this when I'm talking about a 50cc scooter, but it has alloy wheels. It's also got drum brakes, which again, a lot of people buying a set of wheels, which is what this is, they get so hung up in performance. It's not got disc brakes. Oh dear, who cares, really? Drum brakes are all you need on a bike like this. And that's why, especially just scooters in general, when people start looking at spec sheets, I kind of can't help but feel it's ridiculous. All scooters, regardless, even like Honda SHs and fancy things like that, they're just 2 wheels and an engine to get around the city. There's nowhere else to look. Spec sheets mean nothing. What's also cool though on these, to me, something that does mean something, suspension. I'm going to guess this has none. I'll test it in a minute, but that doesn't matter really. None of the scooters here have suspension. But the engine noise, to me on a scooter, that is cool. So these bikes actually sound really loud. It's a good and a bad thing. They're high revving engines because they're 50cc. So for me, it actually provides some enjoyment. To other people, they're like, why is such a small bike so noisy? But that's something to consider. I might just rev it a little bit now so you can hear just how loud they are. So this is a carburetor bike, not fuel injection, which means in the mornings it could be slightly harder to start, but a little bit of patience, you'll get it going. So I know we're inside. Actually, to me right now, that sounds quite quiet. But when I was driving the other day, it's relatively noisy. Another thing, one more thing that I like about these, they have kickstarts. A lot of modern bikes don't have kickstarts now, which is ridiculous. So these are the things I look for in a scooter, is kickstarts, no dumb magnetic keys and other stupid features like that, simplicity, something that's going to go from A to B without me really caring about the machine. So the key, you open it down here, okay, like that. Have a look inside the seat here. Just going to grab a random helmet. This is just your bog standard helmet. Whoop, that doesn't fit. Let's try that. See if that fits. No. Okay, that's not. So it looks bigger than it is. That's actually quite interesting. But what they do have, which all scooters have really, is a hooking system. This helmet's done up really tight. This is a normal helmet. That goes there. And now it's hooked into the bike. I'll be honest, the space you have for leverage around here, that wasn't the greatest. But most people don't drive around the city with expensive helmets. The feature that I would look for in a scooter is where is the gas. So a lot of them are under the seat, but on this bike, it's at the front here. That's actually really nice. Very convenient. Okay, so the kick. This is always something I like in a scooter because it means if the battery fails for some reason, you have a backup. And I think for a rental company is super important. Very, very helpful for them. Just gets you out of a mess. I remember, so Tigit, my company doesn't do rentals for expats in the city anymore, but back when we used to, I would only ever buy bikes with kickstarts. That's how important I think they are. Apart from that, it's just a scooter. What more can I say? Drum brakes, as I said, it's got a monoshock on the back, just for one. But these things just don't really matter. This is why I say suspension doesn't matter for most foreigners, and I'll show you why. It's quite funny, really. When I sit on this bike, because I'm so heavy, 100 kg, let's leave it at that, the suspension goes to the bottom just under my weight. You see that? So when I stand on it, the whole bike goes up. Do you see that? So what it means is, I'm already at the bottom of the suspension, so there's no travel left for hitting bumps. And this is not just on a bike like this. This is on all scooters in Vietnam. So nothing has suspension when it comes to someone of my weight, which is why it's irrelevant. For Vietnamese, I reckon if you're like 50, 70 kg, you might get some suspension, but otherwise, basically not. Anyway, on a bike like this, you're not driving fast enough to really care. So we have 0 to 80 kilometers an hour. It caps out at 50, so the internet says. Analog fuel, full and empty. Okay, let's take this thing for a spin. Okay, so the engine, they're quite not, yeah, power. Very cool. And honestly, when I watch people driving in Ho Chi Minh City, well, just in Vietnam, they are so slow. And people, it's funny because the manufacturers keep making the bikes more and more powerful. Like, they started at 100 cc, then 110, then 125, and now 150. And like, no one has the skills to drive those bikes anyway. So why don't you just get a 50 cc? Here we go. Now, you saw earlier the bike sort of cutting out. That's a trait of carburetor bikes, okay? You just got to get through the initial warm-up stage on things like this, and then they'll run nicely. So this is definitely top speed right now, 50 kilometers an hour. And you can see I'm catching up with everybody. Standard Vietnam. This is why power is not important. Okay, we'll do a spinny here. It is very, very, very slow off the mark though. And I'm on full throttle nearly all of the time. So light, look at that. Love it. Love it. What is it, 75 kg on the spec sheet? That's light. That is light, even compared to normal scooters. Okay, let's hit some potholes down this street. Line them up. Boom. Not big enough. Pretty plush, if I'm honest. It's just normal. They're all the same, these scooters. Normal. At least for someone my weight, they're all the same. That's the only thing I'm not liking at the moment, is that initial getaway is so sluggish. But once it's running, awesome. Come on, go, 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 go. Yeah! And then the engine kicks in and we're off. It's like it's sleeping and it's like, oh, okay, I'll go. I always try and remind myself who you're reviewing for. This is for your person with no license, your person just doing school runs, grocery shopping. They really shouldn't care about performance on any level. This is why even the fact I Googled SYM Shark 50 spec sheet is nothing but ridiculous, right? Does it turn on? Yes. Does it have 2 wheels? Yes. Does the seat open? Yes. Okay, that's it. There's nothing else to talk about. I suppose, is the user interface ridiculous with silly buttons and things that no one understands? No, it's as basic as can be. Tick, tick, and tick. Can we get up this hill? Yes. Okay, next performance review, a bigger hill. This one over here. Woo! So why you want nice light bikes? Even cooler, a bike that doesn't turn off when the side stand goes down. I like that. Very nice. There you go, for all your people with no licenses and your commuter, kid run around, city bike for rent at the extra mile.